Thanks very much for coming back and watching another video. In this video I'm going to be looking at the 50s road-worn Mexican Stratocaster. It's a funny story actually, because I've got a friend of mine who's in the UK who absolutely loves Stratocasters, and I was always a telly guy. So whenever I'd go over there to jam, usually go over there a couple of times a year, he's always got a couple of Strats. He's got this really gorgeous 90s Strat that he used to play in a band. We were in a band together for about 10 years. I didn't play guitar, I was the singer, believe it or not. And he's got this 90s Strat, it's got lace sensor pickups, and that's the one I always play when I go over there. But he's also got a new one, he's got this beautiful custom shop surf green Strat as well, with a V-neck, and he kept saying to me, just buy a Strat. And I thought, well, you know, I've never really had a Strat, never really played one. When I play his, I find them difficult to get on with, I'll explain in a minute. Because I always had Telecasters, you know, that thicker neck and the fixed bridge, etc. And for me it was always like a Strat was always a different type of instrument. I couldn't really get on with it as well as I could the Telecaster. However, recently I was looking online and I thought, well, you know, the Strats are just gorgeous looking guitars, they play great. So I was on reverb.com, I had a look, and I saved two or three into my basket. You know how you do. With me, I only buy gear that I really need or really want. It takes me a long time to make a purchase. So I had a couple in there, and my ultimate deciding factor was, if I saw the Strat sitting over there in the corner, which one of those in my basket am I going to go over and pick up? What's going to make me play more? And for me, it was this road-worn 50s Strat. And yeah, I know they're one of those guitars, you either love them or hate them. You either love or hate road-worn, relic'd stuff, don't you? I can go either way, I'm one of those guys. It was just something that kept drawing me back to this particular guitar. I know it's not a vintage guitar, I know that they all come out the factory looking the same, etc. But they are nitro bodies. So eventually I'm going to start to put my wear on it, add my contribution to it as well. And I've made a few upgrades. Nothing major, but I'll talk you through them. So let's go through and have a look at the guitar. We'll start with the headstock. I'm going to put some pictures up there, probably do one of those silly montages that I do as usual. But with the headstock, I don't know if you can see that there, but it's just all bitten around there, it's worn. I think they've done a really fantastic job on that headstock, and it's also got the vintage tuners on there as well. It took me a couple of times of restringing to really sort of get to grips with how that works, but found a great video on YouTube. It's not that different, but of course you've got to poke the string down into the tuning hole first and then bend it over before you start winding, etc. So it took me a little while to get used to that. And on the back, you can see there we've got the vintage tuners and the Mexican serial number there as well. Funnily enough, on the front you've got the like vintage spaghetti logo and synchronized trem, contoured body, you know, those types of sort of vintage stickers there as well. And on the back of the neck, it's sanded from about there all the way up. So it's got that sort of road-worn look, but not only that, it's got a satin finish. So it just feels really slippery, is that the right word? It's certainly not sticky when you run your hand down there, so I really love that neck, and it's V-shape as well. And a friend of mine said, just try a V-shaped neck, and I recommend it as well, because you can get the palm of your hand, you get that right into the V, and the V almost pushes your hand out a little bit and helps me play a little bit better. On my Michael Kelly Telecaster, it's got like a modern C, I think they call it. It was almost like a D-shaped neck. Going from this over to that Telecaster, I actually did a video in it. It's probably down there somewhere. It's almost like your hand is compressed into that neck when I play the Telecaster. It's not a bad thing, still love the guitar, but this is just a different neck to play. You've got jumbo frets on here, and a word of caution really, I suppose, is that if you're going to buy one of these guitars, I just highly recommend going into the guitar store, guitar shop near you, if they've got one in, and trying it out, because of the jumbo frets. They do sit higher on the fretboard, and also that makes the string action a little bit higher. Works for me, but if you're a shredder and you're used to playing some of those like shred guitars A friend of mine back in the UK, he's got a couple of those Ibanez, 90s Ibanez guitars actually, really low action, and they just play like butter. But this is going to be a different experience for you. So I do recommend, if you're interested and you're looking at buying something like this, or any guitar with jumbo frets, just definitely go into a guitar store and try it first. I've got D'Addario 1046 strings on there, just my personal preference. Funny story about that. I was always under the impression that when you bought a Stratocaster, and I have no idea where I got this from, but when you buy a Strat, you put 9s on it. So when I first bought this, bought a set of 9s, put it onto the guitar, and then played it. And because I'm used to playing the Telecaster that's always had 10s on it, I was overbending everything. It just felt like I was playing 8-gauge strings. It just felt so weird. So I think they lasted a couple of days. Took those off, put the D'Addario 10s on, and I'm all back to normal. With regards to the body, it has got that road-worn look, as you can see there, which I do particularly love. It's just, you know, as I say, it's a love it or hate it thing. For me, it's a love it thing, and it's got various dings in the body, if you could see that there as well, especially down by the jack plate there. You've got some wear and dings and artificial wear, etc. It's got 3 Tex-Mex pickups in there, which sound really great, really gritty, love those. It's got the vintage saddles on there as well. I'll put some pictures up so you can see that a little bit closer. The switch gear, I suppose, and the pick covers are all sort of yellowed to give it that vintage vibe. When it came to me, it had a bright white 8-hole single ply pickguard on it, which is great, but for me it was just too white. So I replaced it actually with like a worn one. There's a company that relics them, and I think they're called trickedoutguitar.com. I'll put a link down there so you can have a look. It was about $30 to replace this. I could have done it myself, you know, I could have sort of worn the old pick guard, but I decided I won't. I'll keep that and stuck it in the case. It comes with a fantastic soft case as well, really padded soft case. So I just threw that in the case, and this cost me about, as I say, about $30, 25 quid, something like that. And I'll take some pictures of that and put them up there because it might be difficult to see on there because of the light on the camera. It's got a 6-screw bridge, true to a vintage style, I suppose, the 50s style. What isn't true is the 5-way switch. I think the vintage had a 3-way switch, didn't they? So on the back, let's have a look at the back. It's got some more wear, some more road-worn wear and those sorts of things. 3-spring trem. It did have a cover plate on there, bright white cover plate, but I removed that for 2 reasons. The first reason being it was bright white and didn't really fit the look and style vibe mojo of the guitar, and I sort of prefer that look anyway. And secondly, the holes didn't line up for the strings. When you poke the strings through, the holes in the guard, they didn't line up because I decked the bridge. So I prefer the bridge to be decked because I'm a telly player. For anyone that doesn't know what that means, it means I can push the trem down and still get that trem action, but I can't pull the trem up. Whereas a hardtail or fixed bridge, you're not going anywhere like that bridge, it's just hard-tailed onto the body like a Telecaster. And a floating bridge will float up so that you can pull the trem arm up to lower the pitch of the strings and push the trem arm down. No, it's the other way around, isn't it? But yeah, so the floating bridge will give you that more of a trem action. But this is the sort of look that I preferred with the guitar, to give it more a vintagey, faux vintagey sort of overall look. But the main point of this guitar and the bits and pieces that I've done to it, the reason I bought it was because, as I say, when I see it sitting in the corner, I pick it up more and I play it, and that, for me, that's just the point of guitar. I just play guitar more than ever since I've had this. Whenever I'm watching TV, YouTube or whatever, I just pick this up and I play it. It's absolutely fantastic and I love it. So the only thing left to do is to let you guys hear how it sounds. thanks very much for watching my video on the 50s road-worn Mexican Strat. I do appreciate you watching. If you liked the video, if it helped you out, then hit the like button. Also, don't forget to leave comments. I love reading the comments, and also I reply to all of them. And I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe. Love to have you as a subscriber. I'm going to come up with regular videos. We're going to have more content, teach you guys how to play some licks, country licks, blues licks, etc. More gear reviews, fun guitar related stuff, and all that type of thing. I'm Derek Paul, and I'll see you next time.